Meeting to order. And before we open tonight with our moment of silence and our pledge, two things. One is we want to introduce Matt Price, our newest board member. He's probably the youngest one on the board too. I know you're comparing ages with the other Matthew there to see which one's the youngest now. But the second thing is we have heavy hearts tonight. Mary Rouse's mother passed away this morning and is unable to be with us. And before we have the opening, we'd just like for all of you to remember Mary and her family in your prayers as we continue on with the meeting. And knowing Mary, she'd wanted to be here, and it wouldn't surprise me if she walked in, but let's do remember her in our prayers as we open. I'd like to ask you to stand and join us with a moment of silence, and then Mr. Iverson's going to lead us in pledge.
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight we have our first meeting at the auditorium at West Ridge High School, and it's a dream come true for many of us that we have been having this dream for many years, that we would have the school facility here in this auditorium. And we're just thrilled to be here in this auditorium. And if you've not been to any of the athletic events here at West Ridge this year, you are missing a school spirit that's beats any that I've seen in my 50-some years of being involved with public education. I mean, it sends cold chills up my spine each time I go to an athletic event. And this last week, the overtime win against David Crockett was unreal. And all the other things that you're going to hear about tonight from some of the other athletes, or the athletes for football and cross country and others, and the other academic awards that we're going to hear. We know now why we fought so hard to have these wonderful facilities that we have here. This time we will entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda. And remember, when you adopt a consent agenda, you are adopting the agenda as it's published here. So I entertain that motion.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Iverson, second.
I'll second that.
Mr. Spivey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have the agenda approved. Now we're ready for public comments. Ms. Keene tells me that there's no one signed up for public comments. This time, communications to the board by our director, Ms. Raflowski.
Good evening, Chairman Jones and the rest of the Board of Education. First thing I would like to say as well is welcome to our new board member, Matthew Price. We're thrilled to have him join our board, and we look forward to his ideas and input. Secondly, over the past couple of weeks, we have, in the state of Tennessee, we recognize school board members, and we have been celebrating our school board members. And as we celebrate School Board Appreciation Week, many of our students and our staff submit different things to our school board members as a means of showing appreciation and saying thank you. I too would like to say thank you for your service and dedication to our students, staff, and community. Please accept the many reminders from our students of the appreciation they have for all of you. I hope that as you sit in your seats tonight and look out among those in attendance, you also see those reminders in seats of why each one of us sit in these seats and do the things we do and make the decisions that we do. Many thanks to our students and staff you all have a bag of goodies that have come to you from our students. You also have reminders at your seat here this evening. Some of the most satisfying and pleasant things to see are some portraits that our young children submit of board members. So I've given each board member, and I apologize to Mr. Price, we didn't get his picture quickly enough. If you will just hold up your portrait that was done by first graders at Emmett Elementary. And I think they nailed Mr. Spivey.
They always do.
And these are first graders, so thank you very much to all of our students and staff across Sullivan County Schools and showing their appreciation to our board and also to you, each and every one of you, for everything that you do for our students and staff in Sullivan County. As I continue with my recognition this evening, I'm going to come down, and I have also asked our board members if at any time they would like to join me down front as I make some recognitions for them to feel free to do so. First, I would like to ask Jim Street, his wife Barbara, and his sister LaDonna to come down and join me in the front. And also Dr. Davis, if you will, as well. Jim and his wife Barbara and Jim's sister LaDonna join us this evening. They have been friends of Sullivan County Schools for many years. Their generosity has been shown in donating the materials and building of an outdoor pavilion at Bluntwell Elementary. On many occasions, donating welding supplies to our welding classes at our high schools, and kindly donating 3 flagpoles at the front of Westridge High School, just to mention a few. Mr. Street's construction company also provides an avenue for some of our aspiring CTE students to participate in their apprentice program as well. J.A. Street is the proud construction company that is behind the build of Westridge High School. I've had the honor and pleasure of working with Mr. Street, his family, and his contractors for the past 4 years while constructing Westridge High School. I can tell you that Jim Street and his family are as proud of Westridge High School as we are. I recall a day when Jim was passing out hats with the ridge embroidered on them, and his comment was, "Well, I'm proud of this school too." Months later, I had another conversation with Mr. Street. This one, after experiencing Friday night lights and football at Westridge. We all knew we wanted a jumbo video screen in the stadium. Tonight, Jim, Barbara, and LaDonna are making that a reality for Westridge High School. It is a dream come true, and I am most appreciative. Once again, they are showing their generosity and commitment to their community by making a $150,000 donation to Westridge High School toward purchasing a jumbotron for our beautiful football stadium. I would like to ask Dr. Josh Davis and the football captains to come forward to accept the donation. Can you see it? This is a rendering of what the video screen is going to look like, and it will be delivered within the next month. Installation will happen just quickly thereafter. In our appreciation, there's a reminder, and young men, if you'd like to come over and show your appreciation as well. And then I'll see if Mr. Street would like to say something.
I just want to say, of course, been in Sullivan County and actually a resident of Sullivan County since 1972 and been involved in the school. It was a pleasure of not only mine but all the employees that we have, and we're very proud of it. And I'm still running the punch list. I see stuff nobody else sees, so we will be back and fix things that I see. But anyway, it is a pleasure, and we like to share with the kids. And of course, everyone knows we're very involved in apprenticeship programs. We appreciate what the Sullivan County is doing with the young kids in the trades, and we certainly have agreed that if anyone wants to be involved in the trades, we'll make a job for them. So, but we are proud of the school, and just looking around, this is the first time I've been in Feast, and it looks great.
This foundation is for Jim and LaDonna's mom and dad, born in Buchanan County, and it is for Frankie May and Joe W. Street. Parents who raise their children to work very hard and take their education very seriously. So this is something that's really dear, and I know they're in heaven so proud about all this. And I'm a former teacher, educator on a secondary and college level, and it's such rewarding work to be a teacher. And parents who lead their children and encourage them to get a good education. School boards, such a thankless task for what you do and the guidance that you give for education. It's wonderful. We appreciate it so much.
I just want to say thank you all for everything you do.
I can't begin to acknowledge the friendship and the kindness shown on behalf of the J.A. Street families, and I'm certainly anxious for them to see it in real life and get it up and going, and we'll be ready for football next fall. Thank you. Next on our agenda for recognition is the Heartsaver Award recognition that we have with Sullivan County Schools. We have a special recognition for that's called Heartsaver. When we feel like we have had that student or staff member who has taken an action to go above and beyond and actually make a difference in the life, the well-being of an individual. And as I go through this, I'm going to ask Sheriff Jeff Cassidy to join me. And I'm very, very appreciative of you being here this evening.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. make this presentation, I'd also like to invite Principal Hank Hare and SRO Lacey Arnold to the front. This past Tuesday, Principal Hare and SRO Arnold took immediate and heroic action, which led to saving the life of a young woman. We are totally convinced of that. The young lady's home, which is located next to the school, was on fire. Our second graders, who are heroes as well, and were on the playground at the time, and they were the first to notice the flames coming from the house. Quickly, they reported this to their teachers. Their teachers went into action, removing the students from the playground and immediately reporting to 911 and also to Miss Arnold. A young lady was inside the home and working in the rear of the house and had no idea that the house was up in flames. SRO Arnold rushed to the house, and after beating on windows, she then began beating on the front door. While attempting to kick in the door sprang open. The smoke was black and heavy, and SRO Arnold and Principal Hare could hear the lady and assisted her out of the home. Once she exited the house, Principal Hare took her to safety, where she was comforted and cared for by bookkeeper Angie Lowe. After getting out of the house, the homeowner confirmed she had no idea the house was on fire. She was working, as I said earlier, in a room in the back of the house. She was wearing headphones, and she had the door to the room closed. She did finally hear the loud noise on the front door, and as a result, was able to get to the front of the house before the remainder of the house went up in flames. Sullivan County Schools is awarding our heroes a Heartsaver badge. This badge signifies and acknowledges the heroism shown in taking the actions aforementioned to save this young lady's life. We will also be recognizing our second graders tomorrow for their bravery and quick response. Sheriff Cassidy will be at Bluff City Elementary to award our students certificates and to honor their actions. Thank you very much, Sheriff Cassidy.
Thank you, Evan.
I will now ask Sheriff Cassidy for his comments.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks for the board for having me here tonight. You can probably hear me without this microphone. I don't think it's working, but their heroic actions, like I said, Dr. Raffalaus is going to present them with their Heartsaving Award, but I also, this meets the criteria for a life-saving award through our agency as well. So I want to read, just to echo what Ms. Raffalowski said, but I was recently made aware of Deputy SRO's heroic actions that saved a life on February 1st, 2022. Principal Hare observed a house across from Bluff City Elementary School engulfed in flames and smoke. Deputy Arnold was on scene trying to make contact with the homeowner, and she was made aware the house was occupied. Deputy Arnold worked tirelessly to get the occupants' attention. She banged on windows, attempting to kick the door down. The occupant finally heard the commotion, came to the door, but would not exit upon request because she had a couple of animals in the residence. The occupant eventually came out of the house unharmed, and by this time the structure was completely engulfed in flames. The victim stated that if she had not heard the banging on the doors and the windows, she would not have known her house was on fire. SRO Lacey Arnold displayed unbelievable courage and selfless actions during the tense and evolving incident. Deputy Lacey is going to be awarded the Life-Saving Medal for her actions. Thank you for your exceptional job on that day and every day, Lacey. Takes a while, and then you get sleepy, don't you?
Proud of you. Very, very proud of these two. I don't think there's any doubt in anyone's mind the heroics that they showed as they went through what they dealt with Tuesday morning. So many thanks to them, and I'm sure there is a family and a young lady who is very, very thankful for both of you. Thank you. And again, many thanks to Sheriff Cassidy for not only being here this evening, but also for going to Bluff City tomorrow. And believe it or not, Sheriff Cassidy is a former student of mine.
Yep, that's right. Here's my favorite.
I'm his favorite teacher, and I'm not gonna tell you how many paddlings he got.
I talked her into coming back, so I'll take a little bit of credit for that.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
The next group I'd like to recognize is this group of young men over here. I think we've got 5 here that represent the captains of our Westridge High School football team. This evening, come on over here, guys. As they stand here and represent this football team, I would like to say their coaches are at a coaching clinic, working hard to get better at their craft. And I'm pretty thankful for that coaching staff. And I think this group of young men would agree with me wholeheartedly. Represented here tonight by football captains Austin Reiner, Eli Topping, Fletcher Gibson, and Eli Kennedy, and who am I missing? Mr. Cornett. Thank you. Accomplished something this inaugural season that many did not expect nor think possible. Finishing with an impressive 8-3 overall record, Westridge was the only 6A team to advance from Region 1 in the state playoffs. These young men and their coaches provided much excitement in Region 1 football, and tonight, I, along with the board, would like to say thank you. Thank you for not only setting and achieving high expectations, but for setting an example for many to follow. Your leadership has been exemplary and the road paved well lit. We hope you will continue to be a leader in your community and always be passionate about Westridge High School. Congratulations on an amazing season, and thank you. I'd like for Eli and Fletcher to come back up. Eli Topping and Fletcher Gibson. I'd also like to take just the opportunity to congratulate both of these young men. First, Eli Topping. Eli Topping has been selected to the All-State first team that is selected by the Tennessee Football Coaches Association. We're very, very proud of Eli and his accomplishments. We'd also, in recognizing you tonight, like to give you a certificate. In addition, Eli will be one of the very first all-state athlete pictures to be hung at Westridge High School. That is a significant and an amazing honor. That's something that will be here for many, many years to come. So congratulations. Very, very proud of you. Mr. Fletcher Gibson. Both of these young men are seniors. Unfortunately, we'd like to think they were freshmen or sophomore, and we get to keep them a little while longer. Fletcher is a senior who, as of yesterday, signed a scholarship to play football for Carson Newman University. And I don't think his mom's too proud of that, because she's sitting back here and she's got on her Carson Newman t-shirt already, so congratulations. As an offensive lineman, Fletcher was named to the Tennessee Sports Writers Association 6A All-State football team. It's the second straight Tennessee Sports Writer Association All-State honor for Fletcher. Again, Fletcher is going to join Eli on that wall as the first athletes to get their picture hung in the Hall of Fame, or whatever they choose to end up naming that hall. But I will have many fond and good memories when I come through there and I see your pictures. So thank you, congratulations to both of you, and best of luck. You're welcome. Next, I'd like to ask Miss Kara Taylor to join me down front. Is Kara here? Okay. Kara may not be here, but we're also going to take the opportunity to recognize her. She was the first athlete at Westridge High School to qualify for the state competition as a cross-country runner. Kara actually signed a scholarship yesterday as well to continue her cross-country career at Central College. Next, I'd like to invite Suzanne Amos and Gracie Olinger to join me in the front. StreamWorks Appalachian Highlands selects 20 under 20 awards annually. StreamWorks has been privileged to witness extraordinary students doing extraordinary things and wanted to supply a vehicle for these young and innovative pioneers to be recognized. The 20 under 20 award celebrates outstanding individuals who are under 20 years old from Tennessee, Virginia, and North Carolina. Westridge High School is very honored and proud to have 2 students selected to that 20 under 20 selection, and that group of amazing young individuals doing what they say, extraordinary things. So tonight, I'd like to present Gracie and also Suzanne with a certificate. I'd like to encourage you to continue the pursuit. I know that Gracie wants to be a teacher. Suzanne? Oh, Suzanne wants to join the military, so I can't imagine 2 more honorable professions for both of you to commit to. So thank you very much. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Ed Daugherty to come up and join me. Mr. Daugherty is here this evening representing the Sullivan County Retired Teachers Association. This association is very dear to me. We have lots of very active retired teachers who still want to give back to our school district, their school district. Each year they award many grants to teachers after making application and going through a selection process. You want me to read them out and go through them? Okay. This year, those 3. The first one is Debbie Boer. Is Debbie here this evening? Debbie wrote a grant for $351. She is the physical education teacher at Ketron Elementary. Her grant involved being able to purchase lots of manipulatives, foam balls, and some bowling equipment for her students at Ketron. The second recipient, or recipients, are Casey Eaton and Ronnie Johnson from Sullivan Central Middle. I'd like for you to come down and be recognized as well. Casey and Ronnie wrote a grant for STEM, and their goal was to obtain some additional robotics equipment for $500. They were selected and very, very proud of that. The technology class that they work in also adds CAD. Students have the classes. All students are able to rotate through their class during the year. And with these funds, These 2 classroom sets of robotics kits will be purchased. In conjunction with microprocessors, students will build, code, and drive the robots to complete challenges. It is hoped this grant will spark interest in STEM careers and coding. Congratulations. The next grant award is Seth Grindstaff. Mr. Grindstaff is the creative writing 9 through 12 and AP English Lit 12th grade teacher here at Westridge High School. He wrote a grant for $495, and his description is as follows. Creative writing class focuses a great deal on poetry, as every student can write successful poems. To show students they can be successful outside the classroom, their work is submitted to many different competitors and magazines. Work is also published in Word of the Wolves, student literary magazine. In order for the students to create their own writing, they must read the works of others. These funds will be used to purchase class sets of poetry books, to provide examples of poetry that is not from a textbook and gives examples of current poetry that is meaningful to the students. Some of the funds also cover the expense of publishing Word of the Wolves. The poetry will also encourage daily journaling, which has proven to be an excellent outlet for teens. It also will help the AP students learn to analyze poetry and understand it as it is presented on the AP test, which they pass for college credit. We definitely want to encourage creative writing and literature appreciation in this digital age, and I understand that completely. So congratulations, Seth, and thank you for submitting. Mr. Gardner,
I just like to say that the retired teachers are very active. If you have teachers, particularly, this is for any teacher in Sullivan County, regardless of what they teach, and we're just happy to present those awards to them. That money comes right out of our own pockets, and we don't get it from any other donations other than just the people who are retired that has an interest to help people excel in the classroom. And we know that you so often don't have the materials that you particularly need, and this really helps in that respect. If we can help you, just let us know. Thank you.
thank you for being here. I have one more recognition to make this evening, and I would like to ask Dr. Fleener, the principal of Holston Elementary, to join me down front. Holston Elementary has been selected as a model of demonstration school at the gold level for their response to instruction and intervention for behavior program. This recognition is based on Holston's partnership with the Tennessee Behavior Supports Project during the 2020-2021 school year. Gold level mod schools are models for strong Tier 1, 2, and 3 processes and practices. Mod schools like yours are implementing all tiers with high fidelity and have applied the RTI 2B framework to improve their school climate and culture, student engagement, and school connectedness. We encourage your school to share its practices, examples, and innovations with schools in our state. We appreciate your team's hard work and dedication in improving learning and positive behavior at your school. Your students, faculty, staff, and community certainly benefit from your efforts. We are very proud of all our staff and students at Holston Elementary and would like to say congratulations to Dr. Fleener and her entire staff and students. The last recognition that, I have one additional piece of, group to recognize this evening, and that is the audio-visual group here at Westridge High School, Mr. Sandifer's class, who is now going to be taking over the production and the video for our work session and our school board meetings. We're excited that we have a student-focused group who will be working with us as we have those videos published on our YouTube channel. And I just want to say thank you, and they're back there in the booth, to them as well. Mr. Jones.
Next on our agenda is two items related to outdated facilities, the Bluntville campus update. I shared this with other board members during the work session. We are currently getting a few things done on the Bluntville campus. The county commission will be touring that building very soon to see if they are ready to make an offer on the building, and if not, then we'll proceed with a public bidding process on that. The second one deals with the Colonial Heights. We restricted Colonial Heights about 2 months ago concerning what it could be used for. It has not been declared surplus yet and has not been put up for public sale yet, but we did have another offer on this, and in order to be transparent, I want to make sure that everyone knows about the additional offer. Board members have a copy of the letter that was sent to us by the Lakeway Christian School concerning the offer on this, but it has to be public knowledge that it has not been publicized for sale yet. Therefore, by law, we cannot engage in any type of negotiation on a building until it has been declared surplus and until we go to public bids, and that decision has not been made yet. But that is just for clarity for those who have an interest in that particular building. Ms. Rafalski.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Moving on to new business. We have several policies this evening that we have covered in our work session. I will be recommending that these policies be passed on first reading and ask for waiver of rules, Mr. Jones. Policy 1.801, emergency closings.
You've heard the recommendation from the director concerning waiver of rules. I need a motion waiver of rules first, and then we will vote on the policy itself. So,
Mr. Jones, could we actually ask for a waiver of rules on items 7A through 7D at one time, and then we can actually vote individually, but just one-time waiver of rules?
be fine.
I'd like to make that motion.
That's for 7A and B.
A through D, A, B, C, D.
Okay. You have a motion. Do you have a second on that?
Second that.
Roll call, Ms. King.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes, I can.
Mr. Iverson,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Spivey.
Yes.
Okay, we have waiver rules on that, so now we'll go to policy 1.801 with emergency closings. And do you want to group these together,
Yes, please.
since we talked about them in the work session?
Yes.
And that's A through D, right?
Yes, sir. I'll make the motion that we pass or group item A through D together for the vote.
You've heard the motion. We group those four policies together. Do you have a second? Second by Mr. Robinson. Any discussion? Roll call, Ms. King.
Mr. Iverson,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Spivey,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is item 7E, which is 2021-2022 bus contracts. I recommend approval. These were talked about in our work session. This is 32 bus routes. These are 6-year contracts, and I would like to recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation concerning the 6-year contracts for these 32 bus routes. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Hughes, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Iverson. Any discussion? I think you heard the details in the work session, but no questions. Roll call, Ms. King.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Spivey,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Iverson,
Yes.
Item 7F is transfer of bus routes. We have 5 bus routes that we are transferring from one of our contractors to 2 other contractors. I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation to approve these 5 route transfers. We have a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Robinson,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Spivey. Any discussion? And in the minutes, we will attach these routes, if that's okay, so I'm not on the notes of which routes it is, so it'll be recorded as part of the minutes. Roll call, Ms. King.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Spivey,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Iverson,
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Item 7G, 2022-2023 calendar. I'm asking that the board approve a change in that calendar, which is 2 dates. One is moving an in-service day where students do not attend to October 28th, and also an in-service staff development day to May 16th. I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation for a change to the school calendar for 22-23. Just for clarification, make sure everybody knows it's next year's calendar. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Spivey makes the motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Price makes a second. Any discussion? Roll call, Ms. King.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Spivey,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Iverson,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Item 7H is the Student Rights and Responsibilities Handbooks for grades 6 through 8 and grades 9 through 12. My recommendation for both these booklets have to do with the transportation to alternative school. I recommend that we give the director of schools the authority to deviate from the requirement of transportation for only that students be transported by parents. I recommend approval.
You've heard recommendation to change that requirement to where the director of schools is authorized to make a change to where she can ask the students to ride the bus rather than being transported by. So we have a motion by Mr. Hughes. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Iverson. Any discussion? Roll call, Ms. King.
Mr. Spivey,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Iverson,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Next on the agenda, item 7I, are the final change orders for Westridge High School, change order number 3 and change order number 12, as detailed in our work session earlier, and I recommend approval.
You've heard recommendation to approve change orders number 3 and change order number 12 for both the athletic building and for the main campus. Do I have a recommendation, or have a motion? Motion by Mr. Hughes, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Spivey. Any discussion? Ms. King, roll call, please.
Mr. Spivey,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Iverson,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Chairman Jones, before I finalize and turn the board meeting back over to you, I just once again would like to say thank you to all those who contributed to making tonight a success. I'd like to recognize and ask Dr. Davis, principal of Westridge High School, to stand up and give him a round of applause. On top of being principal for the day or any other day of the year, we ask him to have a room so we can have a work session and to set up a theater so we can have a board meeting, and that takes additional work and time on his schedule. So I want to say thank you to Dr. Davis, and I appreciate everything that's gone into making this a very successful, a great situation for us to have our meeting and work session tonight. So thank you. Chairman Jones?
Next is public comments on non-agenda items, but I don't think we had anyone sign up, did we? I'll close out with my comments. Our next board meeting will be March the 3rd, work session 4:30, regular meeting at 6:30. An update on the access driveway for West Ridge going on to Henry Horror Road. We do have the engineering drawings in place, and they have been submitted to the state for a permit. And as soon as we get the permit, we'll be able to put that out for bid. But that will take us from the tennis court area all the way down to Henry Horror on the back side. But I'm not sure what the date will be on that. Depends on how long it takes the state to issue that permit. As I mentioned to you in the work session, we may have to have a call meeting for attorney-client privileges. If that happens, I will notify you of some possible dates should that need occur. And before board members leave, on my phone I have a picture of the signage for the Evelyn Rafalowski West Ridge Athletic Complex, and I'd like for you to look at those and see if you have any questions on that. Mr. Davis, I know, has a copy. He has worked hard behind the scenes with some instructors and some other people to make this happen at no cost to the system, other than maybe a little manual labor from some of us or somebody. So before you leave, do that if you don't care. And I would also like to thank all the members here who have made this happen. And it's been so successful, we might just move it here permanently and make you a man of many hats. But this is just an outstanding facility and a place to have our gatherings. And again, I'd like to welcome Matt Price to the board. Sometimes you wonder why you do things and why you serve on a board, but people like Matt sitting here is a former student of mine I've known Matt since he was about 4 years old probably, but as a former high school student of mine, it makes you proud to see people willing to step up and to serve, and then to see people like Mr. Darty come up as a retired teacher. Mr. Darty and I talked together a long time ago. We won't say how many years, but at a junior college level, and it was a pleasure to teach with him and to work with him. But that makes it all worthwhile. With all that said and done, I'm going to start with Mr. Iverson to see if he has any comments, and don't forget to look at my phone or Josh's phone about the signage.
Just quick comments. First, Dr. Rouse and her family, just prayers out to them, and I know that she's going through a lot right now. I want to say thanks to all the teachers and admin and staff. It's just a lot of work in a crazy year, and just to see so many people actually still here at this time of night, I really feel sorry for them, but thank them for coming out. I really appreciate it. Dr. Davis, I don't know if you really want us to be here every month, so I won't say that. A lot of work. I'm not sure if it's okay or really fair for Matt to get all these prizes and stuff, because he's only been here the first time. I think you should share those around, but just want to say all the things that we got from the students, the teachers, the principals, it's just fantastic, and thank you guys just very much.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you, Dr. Davis, for allowing us to be here tonight, and how proud I am of this facility. And I'd like to reiterate what Mr. Jones has said a few times tonight about if you haven't got to come and see any of our teams compete, you really don't know what you're missing. We have a very competitive and very passionate group of children and students that have made this school a huge success in its first year. And some of those young men that were here and others like them have made every long meeting, every headache worth it. Really proud of what this school has turned out to be, and we owe a huge debt of thanks to this first class that's here. So thanks for everyone that sent us a gift. School Board Appreciation Week has, from the first year, become a time that I've become educated. First year I was on the board, we went to one of the schools, I think it was Miller Perry, and all the students wrote a little paragraph about what it meant to be brave at a time when we were brave. And I took those things home and put them on my desk, and one night read them at 1 a.m. and I realized what we did was nothing. There was nothing brave about what we did. Some of the stories that some of our students had to share. So to everyone who sent a gift, I really appreciate the gift, but the honor is all mine. Thank you very much.
Mr. Robinson? You have any?
First off, prayers and thinking about Miss Rouse during this difficult time. Big thanks to Dr. Davis for having us. Dr. Davis, I've seen him at every event that I've been here. I went to Cherokee, watched him down there, and sure enough, he was down there, still telling our student section when they was too rowdy. I said, he was calling them down, I don't know how he does it, I really don't. I know he's got kids and wife and everything at home, and he must have them up here living with him or something, because there ain't no way he can see them if he ain't. So, big thanks to him. And thanks to our Westridge people back there in the back, filming us, doing all that stuff. Thank you. Congrats to our all-state football players, track, and all of our sports this year. It's been fun coming and getting to watch games. Basketball I don't get to see much of, but I've made it to one, and I get to watch a little on Twitch every now and then. So, thanks for having us.
Mr. Spivey?
Same thing, and keep Dr. Rouse and her family in our prayers and our thoughts, and we miss her tonight. And I just want to thank, getting this stuff from kids, some people may think we're just saying it to say it, but it is the favorite thing to go back and read. I have all this stuff from 6 years in the office, and Mr. Hughes is right, it makes a difference when you sit down and read it. It makes you remember why we do this and why it's important. And in that vein, thank the teachers and the administration and the staff and our SROs. Doing this recognition just really drives home how much good work they do every day that goes unrecognized. So I wish we could have more time to recognize them. I like it when our meetings are boring. Local government is usually operating good if it's boring, and we can recognize people like that, because that's the important stuff, not what we do up here. So, and I want to thank the Street family again for that generous donation. As Ms. Rafalowski said, they also donated the flagpoles out front. They've been great to work with as a contractor. We thank them for giving back to this district, and I would encourage all local businesses, whether you're in the city or county, we're all part of the same county, to really chip in and thank a teacher, thank an officer, and remember how important public education is to everything we do as a community. So, thank you.
Welcome, Mr. Price.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the opportunity. Look forward to working with you, everybody.
We're glad to have you, and Dr. Davis, we do thank you. I heard the rumor that you spent the night here one night when you thought it might snow, and word does get out about how far above and beyond you go for the students, and we appreciate that. And Dr. Fields out there in the parking lot at Central on the ice on mornings trying to use a teacup, I think, to put out the ice melt stuff. We appreciate that. Dr. Fleener and others, I can't see who all's in the back. I know that you've gone above and beyond to take care of things this year and keep us in school, keep things safe. If there's nothing else, we stand adjourned. These mics are hot.